I'm gonna steal your sunshine and I'll shit on your parade. Don't get me started on doing Michael Caine. My opinion matters, yours will fall in last place. I'm not shutting up and you'll be learning my name. Fifth in the family, but first in my mind. 1 out of 10, but I'm ranking just fine. We've only got now, there's no afterlife. Look, Mom and Dad, I'm just speaking my mind. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everyone's coming on Kyle tonight. Wait, what? No, nobody's coming on Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking to drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking to drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die.
All right, everybody, we are live here with Season 4, Episode 3 of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here live on YouTube, and everybody that's listening in the future on the Apple Podcast or the Stitcher for Podcast app. I have to stop saying iTunes because that's not really like a thing anymore, right?
iTunes is gone.
iTunes is done.
I don't know what
I
they're
sound like
calling
an
it now.
old man when I say, "Oh, I was listening to you on the iTunes. I had you on my MP3." Yeah, yeah. That's my type of
MP3.
leprechaun. Yes, it is. Well, joining us here every week on the Houseboat Tommy Lee Jones channel for Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up is Mr. Justin Olimpedo, who is now in the downstairs chair. He used to be up there, now he's down there. How's your day going, brother?
Good, man.
Yeah, we had technical difficulties before the episode started this
Yeah.
week. Way to go.
Yeah.
Not when we were trying to go live.
True.
Well, kind of when we were trying to go live. But it wasn't as detrimental as last week.
No.
You know? And nothing will be as detrimental as last week. It was a great episode for us, but I gotta say, I am happy to not be taking the bite out of a fucking cow tongue. That was so gross, man.
Yeah.
People have really been responding. People have been asking me about it all week long. They're like, how did it taste? I went, it was amazing. It was delicious. And then I ate the part with the membrane on it, and it was the nastiest. Just the texture. The texture was so fucking gross. And
What's
it
up,
chewed
Brendan?
for 11 minutes. It chewed in my mouth.
It chewed back.
It chewed back. Like, I feel like it kind of did. It really kind of did. All right, well, Zach will be down here shortly, so it's a good time to introduce our special guests in studio tonight. We have Alicia and Kroog, also known as the Feeling Good Duo, so a round of applause to them, yeah. If you're listening at home, applaud them, motherfuckers, applaud them. Now, we'll get into, you guys in a little bit and really, jump into your lives and music and everything. But just a quick background for people that don't know. I know you because you guys are kind of our house band now at the Cinder. Not like house band, but you run our open mic. And when somebody needs something, we hire you. Like, you are the go-to, the duo or really the trio for you guys. And I always have a lot of fun with your open mics whenever I'm drunk enough to play or sober enough to play. There's that happy little middle there. And I was saying to Justin and Zach, you got that new guitar last week. So I'm like, what kind of guitar was it, Kroog?
D'Angelico?
Yeah, D'Angelico. I'm trying to think of the name.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so pretty. I'm never bringing my guitar to open mic ever again. Never doing it. I'm only playing on that. Your old guitar, your other guitar was phenomenal as well. But
She's
this
still
pretty.
bringing that.
He named her. So I know who
Oh, what did you name her?
Althea.
Althea.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, Althea is gorgeous. And speaking of things that are gorgeous, we are now joined by Mr. Zachary. Ooh, that was a clean open, Stormin'.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
now,
what they said when I was born.
that was a clean open. Good on you, Deb. All right. It's his mom.
Yeah, my mom said they watch the show now.
They watch the show.
Not live, though.
I'm gonna talk about and to your mom so much more now. Now that I know that, because if there's one thing we do when we find out somebody listens, we're like, "What, Mark? You listen? We're gonna mention you every goddamn week,
Hi, Mark.
just to make you tune in to see if we're talking about you again." All right. Well, every week we like to drink some beer, and we always have a pace beer. We always have a beer that is our just sipping beer. And today we have a weird one. This could have just been our What Are We Drinking beer. This is 12 Horse Ale Special Edition from the Genesee Brewing Company. Now,
Tastes like the piss of 12 horses.
does it taste like it? I like the pronunciation we were saying before, me and Kroog. It's the 12 Horse
12
Ale.
whores.
12 Horse
12
Ale.
Horse Ale.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was brewed by 12 whores, 7 men, 5 women, but all whores. And, I mean, it's not that good, but it's not that bad. It's not nearly as good as the, what was that shit we had last week? Schaefer's Schoolhouse Beer?
Yeah.
I think this is better than the
You think it's
Schaefer's.
better than that?
beer?
Now, if it
It was
this
just
got
called
warm,
Schaefer.
I was like, what?
Schoolhouse beer.
Okay, if this gets warm, this might not
It's
be
gonna
that
be
great.
horrible. Like
No.
any
Might not be that
Genesee,
great.
It's
though.
really not bad.
But it does the job. I mean, that's pretty much it. It is a good pacing beer.
Yeah.
But we're not here for pacing. We're here for, what's the opposite of pacing?
Getting drunk.
Gluttony. There you go. So, without any further ado, let's jump into my favorite segment.
Yep.
The morning from the bathroom. Cheap booze and craft brews. Reviewing the morning from the bathroom. What are we drinking? What are we drinking? Yeah!
All right. That was a real fun thing to film. And a real weird noise to hear in the background. The high-speed burps and everything. Now, the beers that we are drinking tonight, we have 3 that we are taste testing this evening. They are all in the same vein. Now, I think we're going to go in the order, just because it's easier for me, how I have it laid out. We're going to go, we have 3 beers. The first is the Blue Moon Light Sky. Then we have the St. Archer's Gold. And then we have the Goose Island So Low. Now, Justin can give you a nice up-close and impersonal shot of each of them. But starting with the Blue Moon Light Sky, and I want to start with this because I've already had it. I didn't think I was going to have it before today, but we tried it on Saturday. My roommate's girlfriend had some. Now, the whole gimmick with all of these is under 100 calories, low alcohol, low carbs, all of that. So this one, citrus wheat, tangerine peel. It's brewed with tangerine peel, 3.6 grams of carbs, and 95 calories. So it also comes in the super fancy Red Bull style of
This looks healthier
can.
than a fat can. It
It
just does.
makes you think skinny. You think skinny. That is what... I mean, I drink Red Bull all the time, and look how
Subliminal.
thin I am.
It's
Smell the
subliminal.
citrus, big time.
It's definitely the smell of the citrus. Now, give it a nice little sip here, an ASMR to that mic.
I smell grapefruit even.
Yeah, it's really not bad.
Now, my initial... It
bad.
tastes like it's missing something. Like, it definitely tastes like it's missing something. I feel like this tastes like an IPA that they took the hops. Like, all they did was take the hops. They were making an IPA, like a fruity IPA, like a Citradelic or something
Yeah, but
along
it's a
those
wheat
lines.
beer, right?
But it
Yeah.
is a wheat beer, and it feels like they just pulled it out. So...
Dude,
Yeah,
the
it's their beer.
aftertaste is, though, it's seltzer.
Seltzer.
Yeah, it's seltzer.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh my
like the
goodness,
It's
seltzers.
seltzer.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you were to pour it, I didn't bring out cups, but if you were to pour it into a cup, it is just like a light
I feel like they were
orange.
just like, no, cut the beer in half with seltzer.
Probably.
That literally
With
could be all they
tangerine
did.
seltzer.
They took it and they cut it with tangerine seltzer
Yeah.
because they're trying to
Yeah.
compete with all the seltzers that are going all crazy. We did a bunch of them
This
back
is
last
going to make
season.
you burp, though.
This
Yeah.
will make
Feel
you
it.
burp.
This has like a
This is fizzy
high
lifting drink
fizz,
style.
fizz
Mhm.
content.
This is.
Bumped into the ceiling.
You bumped into the. You barked to the. Oh,
I wouldn't have a problem
Good
drinking
film.
this though.
Good film. It would be really easy to drink. This is perfect for replacing Corona during the summer. If you don't want to, if you like, you don't drink Corona, but it's summertime. You're at a barbecue, and someone's like, "Oh, here's Corona," and you go, "You got limes, right?" And they're like, "Of course I have limes. I'm not a heathen." And then they give you a lime, and you do the whole thumb trick, and you can deal with it because it's cold enough and it's hot enough outside. This, I feel like, could just straight up replace it. It gives me about the same satisfaction as a Corona with lime. It gives me about that much satisfaction. Anybody hating it? Does anybody think that this is terrible?
No.
On a scale of 1 to 10 with what you expected, where would you put this guy? 1 to 10. What are you thinking? 3? 3 out of 10? It's fair.
6?
6 out of 10 for you?
That's better. I guess I'm going to go about, 6 or 7, because it's better than what I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Oh, for what this category of
But
beer.
it's still not...
For Belgian wheat, that is a negative 20.
Yeah. I'd rather have a
for
seltzer.
sure. I'd much rather have a seltzer.
seltzer.
Because, it kind of in that way it tastes like, you said cut Blue Moon with seltzer. It's more like you poured a little bit of orange juice into seltzer. It's
Dude,
like,
I've become the seltzer
little
man.
drop.
I was drinking
Seltzer
natty
man
seltzers
with a
while
seltzer can.
we were out ice fishing the other
Nice.
day. And I love the seltzers so much. I'm
The
drinking
natty
them out on the
seltzers are
ice.
phenomenal. They are the best
Really?
seltzer that has been brewed, in my opinion, by far. It's better than White Claw. It's better than the Bud Light seltzer. It's a little bit more in carbs and sugars, but like literally a couple
And
of
alcohol.
grams more.
It's
Doesn't look
6%
like
But it's
alcohol.
6% alcohol as opposed to a 4 or 4.5. That is like the top's right. But God damn, you're right. I'm like, I've had 3 sips of
Yeah.
that. I'm already burping my ass off. So I'm gonna jump right over to the next one on the line. The
Take a
Saint
palate cleanser.
Archer. Yeah, palate cleanser. Good idea.
Now this is the first one of this style that I've seen. Like they came out
This
before
has been
the
sitting
Blue Moon.
at Beer Time in East Stroudsburg for a little bit, so who knows how good it is.
Got you.
They are now selling this for $1 a can. You can just get this for $1 a can.
That's not a special?
It's not a special. It's just all the time.
That is
all
pretty special.
the time. And I'm hoping at the end of this, I'll say that I would.
I
buy
like this
for
better than the
$1.
Blue Moon.
You like it
but
better
then
than the Blue Moon?
I'm not going to spend $30 on a 30-pack of this. So.
No, but I'll
it's
buy
super
one
cheap.
of them.
Yeah, I like this better than the Blue Moon.
That tastes like beer. That tastes like Heineken almost, or like a Pilsner or Kel, like
That
a
was
European.
another weird aftertaste. Flat.
I
It's
honestly
flat.
get almost nothing on the
I
aftertaste.
think
Yeah,
I think there was
it's
so
like
much
drops.
citrus in the
In the first
Blue
one,
Moon that
yeah.
I
yeah.
can't taste the
You can't
aftertaste.
taste the aftertaste. Yeah.
No.
Now we were looking. It's Saint Archer is the name of the company, and it's just Saint Archer Brewing Company. So I've never heard of them
No.
before. They are technically craft beer. So this is the craft beer answer to the
Is
Blue
this the
Moon
highest
and the Goose
alcohol
Island.
percentage?
This is the highest alcohol percentage. Now the Light Sky. What were we at on this? The Light
4.
Sky. We were at
This
4%
is
even.
4.2.
This is
4.2,
4.2. If you poured this into a glass, not knowing what the real color, I'm assuming it looks kind of similar to the top of the can here. But if you poured it into a glass, didn't tell me what it was, and I sipped on it, I would assume it was like some just meh European old-fashioned style beer.
Like
That-
Rolling Rock sort of.
Yeah, kind of like that, like an imitation European beer.
Yeah.
Because it has that funkiness
That funk.
that a Heineken
It
has.
tastes like it was in a green bottle. It tastes
Yeah.
like it was in a green
Yeah.
bottle, for sure.
For sure.
So maybe
Now-
it has gone bad.
It might have gone bad, but it might just be high end. Now, I think I've talked about this on the show in the past, but one time I left a case of Miller Lite outside at a house show that we were doing for a month, and then the next month we did another house show, and I took a Heineken, and I took the Miller Lite from a month earlier. I chilled the month earlier, the sitting outside from like March into April, so hot, cold, and I poured both of them into cups, and I walked around handing them to people and said, which one's a Miller Lite from a month ago, which one's a Heineken, and nobody could tell. Like, nobody could definitively tell me one was Heineken and one was old Miller Lite.
Right.
Which means to me that if you leave Miller Lite outside, it doubles in price. It doubles in price. That's what it is. Now, the last beer on our taste here is Goose Island Beer Company's low-cal IPA known as Solo. It is 96 calories. It is technically an IPA, and it is 3%
It smells like an IPA.
alcohol.
It does
is
smell like an
only
IPA.
3%. Now, would anybody rank the Saint Archers above the Blue Moon?
I
Anybody
do,
like,
for sure.
You like that better?
Yeah,
You get that a
for
little bit
I'll
better
go for the
rating?
Blue Moon because of it's got the orange flavor.
Got the
citrus.
orange flavor?
The
Yeah,
citrus.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm on the Blue
Because
Moon side.
So far, I think I'm sticking Blue Moon as well. There's really
No,
no
this-
difference as far as the
This
alcohol.
smells like shit, and it's not going to get you drunk because it's
smells
only
like
3%.
Yeah. The whole
it's the
idea-
best tasting one.
It
I
is.
for
smell a
sure.
little hoppiness.
I smell
to
the
it.
hoppiness, but the whole idea of hops
It's
is
the
like
best
you're going to
tasting one.
suffer through the
Yeah.
burn because you get drunk. Like,
It's not as
I don't want to
carbonated
drink
as the other two.
Canadian mist whiskey and like just get the taste of whiskey. I want the burn and I want the fucked upness to it. So here we go. If you haven't tasted it, give it a little sip.
It's not as carbonated. It has better flavor.
But it's all it tastes like IPA water. It tastes
That is very watery.
that is so
But
watery.
you get
There's
the IPA on it.
it hangs on your tongue still. It hangs on your
it's-
tongue,
Exactly. You're still
but it
getting the
doesn't.
hops.
It doesn't do anything else. It just
It's a
it's
hollow
like
bitter.
chewing IPA gum. If they made IPA chewing gum, you're like, hey, do you just want to be like annoyed you're not drunk all day? I got something
This is
for
for
you.
people that are trying to cut back, though.
This is I
This
understand
is
the
filling
reason.
a spot
And
in
you
the
still-
market
yeah.
that people
But can't you
evidently
make their
want.
punishment taste a little better?
You know how you do that? You know how you do that? You probably just pour this into another IPA. You're still doing better. So get a big beer stein, pour a nice 9%er, and this, I don't know how math works, but I think that makes it 6%. You know, 9 plus 3 divided by
there is
2.
another thing, because when we were walking out,
Yeah.
the lady at the counter was like, "Oh, you're putting alcohol with these, right?"
Oh, she
You're
was
making
like, oh,
drinks
you're
with these,
adding
right?
booze to this, right?
So a
And
lot
we're
of
like,
people are doing
what?
that.
No, like, I mean, we
Like-
might.
I mean, that's
but
what I do
no.
with the seltzer. If
Yeah.
I go to the bar and I have
White
a
Claws?
White
All right,
Claw,
let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens when you add some screwy balls to it.
Palate cleanser.
Does it make any of it taste better or worse?
Screwball's just too damn good.
It is. Do you taste anything from the beer when you do that?
No,
No?
it just
No?
gave it the fizzy lifting.
The fizzy lifting side of things. All right. So if you're looking to cut back, if you're looking to have 20 beers and not get that drunk, I guess the Goose Island, it's the one that tastes the most like a beer up front, but then dissipates
Yeah.
the quickest.
Yeah.
I'm still on the Light Sky bandwagon, which
I'm with you.
I really hate that I'm on that side. I always find out on the show I genuinely like beers I think I hate. Like we did a blind taste test a year and a half ago, and Bud Light won out of all of us, and we were like, well, fuck us.
yeah, none of us wanted Bud Light to win. None
We were
of
like,
us
no,
are Bud
that's
Light
obviously
drinkers.
Miller Lite. That's Rolling Rock. I know what that is.
Yeah.
And then it was Bud Light, and we were like, oh, shit. Shit. And that's why it's the number one in the country.
Yeah.
The middle, all the flyover states, they know what the fuck's going on. They got their shit down. They got their shit down.
It says LaCroix IPA flavor.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much,
no,
pretty
yeah. I mean,
much.
in the way, it's not even supposed to be a seltzer, but it does the same thing a seltzer does. You get the flavor right off the bat, and then everything runs away, just really, really quickly.
Yeah, I get enough seltzers and everybody runs away.
You get enough anything, and most people will run away from you. All right, well, we're gonna sip on these, and while we sip on these, let's get ready to talk about what's going on in the world. Hit it, Justin. Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? World. I mean, right now, before we go any further, I have 4 open beers, and I'm going to say that the St. Archer is going to be the last one open and full still.
I
think
have
it's the
5.
dead last loser for me there.
Because I'm still drinking
yeah.
hibiscus hard lemonade.
He bought some hibiscus hard lemonade earlier, and he's been sipping a little tart for me, but it isn't too bad. It isn't too bad. Now, what's going on in the world? This is something that's a little bit more local news, and by news, I mean something that just happened to me. So, the other night at the bar, there was this dude that before and after every single sentence he said the phrase, true story. True story, man. True story. I'm not even joking, man. True story. Ooh, oh my God, the blue moon's killing me. Oh yeah. And it made me realize that true story is the thing you say when you have nothing interesting to say and you are lying through your fucking teeth. Nobody ever says true story and follows it up with an actual, completely accurate truth. It doesn't happen. And it fucking bothered the shit out of me. And I was wondering if you guys have any phrases that people say on repeat that you just hear and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, how are you? It's just their filler thing. It's just the thing they throw out there.
Boy,
What do you
I know
got?
This one too.
Oh, this is phenomenal.
This is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
That's on the vein.
You gotta
Self-petting,
try
huh?
this.
He's
This is
self-petting.
This is phenomenal. That's on the vein of people going, "Oh, that's so funny." Like, oh, that's just fucking laugh. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, what
As we're
about
talking about, somebody says, true story.
true story?
True story. It was
Same
phenomenal.
Yeah. We have a buddy that back in high school, our buddy Steve, when I was in high school, right after high school, he would always say, "Not gonna lie." Not gonna lie, it was great. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna kick his ass. Not gonna lie, she's got a sweet ass. Not gonna lie, he's got a sweet ass. He would just say, "Not gonna lie," and you never really could trust him. And then you learn through life. You probably
Well,
shouldn't.
if
Yeah, you probably should.
the one I hear a lot, if you ever hung out with my dad, you know,
You know?
That's
Ooh.
transferred on to me.
You know?
I say that, like, and I catch myself and I'm like, fucking Danny, dude.
that's his thing.
Danny, you got
everything
me.
he says, if you don't say anything back, he'll say
He's
no.
waiting for
you don't
confirmation.
Have to, if you're like, that's pretty cool, and you're like, I don't have to say anything. Like, it was a statement, like, you know?
You know?
You know, dude. Hey, you know.
Yeah. My ex's this is a weird relationship. My ex's mother's boyfriend is there he is. There he is. You walk in a room. There he is. You're like anywhere. Like I would be upstairs. I'd come down and do laundry, and he'd be sitting there without a shirt on, watching TV. Just be like, "There he is," and then I would leave the room. And he goes, "There he is," and I'm like, "Do you say anything else? And who else is here? And do you do this to everybody?" And then we went to an event with his work, and we were at the Iron Pig Stadium, or at Coca-Cola Park down in Lehigh Valley, and he introduced me to like a couple of people as going, "Oh, there he is Bob. Oh, there he is, that's Joe." And I'm
There
like,
he is.
"There
First
he
name.
is."
It's your first name.
So then every single time I see him, there he is. There he is.
There he is.
And he
Oh,
probably has no clue.
probably doesn't realize it just comes out. What was that? There's something that people from, I always noticed in Jersey, that people from like Bergen County have this one thing that I always mocked my old guitar player Dan for saying. It was like a truth be told or something along those lines. But it's just anything like that that repeats itself and repeats itself. And
I
it just
shit you
becomes,
not
I
is a
shit
lot.
you not. Something like
Shit
that.
you
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
But true fucking story. If you're saying true story, you're lying. You're lying. You're lying. Especially when you're saying it after being accused of doing something, which was what the situation was. He was accused of doing something, and he was like, "True story. I don't remember that happening at all. True story. If I had said that,
my God.
like I would admit to it. True story. True story." Oh, true story. My mom makes the best lasagna. True story. It's like, well, I don't believe you on anything. I think your mom's lasagna sucks, and I'm not even going to try it. It's not worth it. All right. Other things happening this week was the Super Bowl and woohoo sports. But the big story, aside from Kansas City winning and snapping 50 years of losing and not making it to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, it always seems to be the halftime show. Now, there's a lot of
Stripper Bowl.
backlash. Fuck yes.
Puppy
Hell
Bowl.
yes. Give it up. I want to see that. That was entertaining as all hell. There was a lot of backlash. Basically, the two repeating things I saw were people mad that there was so much Spanish being sung and spoken.
Yeah, there's a lot
And
of
I'm
that
like,
shit going
okay,
around.
get over it.
Yeah, really.
You're shocked that the girl from Colombia and the chick that was Shakira in the or not Shakira, Selena in the
Yeah,
Selena
Selena,
movie.
Well,
yeah,
dude,
that's right.
You're shocked that they're singing in Spanish.
If you go
also,
back through the list,
have you
there's a
ever
lot
heard
of
their music?
Well, yeah,
they're
that
Spanish.
too. But if
They're
you go
Spanish.
through the fucking list of the Super Bowl halftime shows,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of cultural shit.
A lot of cultures. Before it was even like 1991, New Kids on the Block were like the first. Like,
That was the
big
first
time
band.
that they had like a band, a group, something
group
like that.
to actually perform on the fucking.
And before
halftime
that,
show.
it was all about like college bands, like big bands playing, mixing like a We Are the World style of thing together.
Right.
So on that level, if you're pissed that there's too much Spanish in the Super Bowl, go fuck yourself and just learn Spanish. Really, go learn Spanish.
Get over for the 10 seconds.
Yeah, but the
Come on.
other thing that people are going is like, oh, it's a complete whore off. Like, look at them. They're just like who can
It was a
outslut
booty
the other?
off. It was
It
totally
was.
booty off, but
That's
that's
what I want. I want.
That's what I
so
want.
the game, I see.
You know what I
men,
don't want?
Giant men
Yes.
fucking each other up, and then halfway through that, like, we're gonna stop this. look at some hot girls, and then we're gonna get back to the
because
big
last
dudes
year
fucking
they
each other
fucked
up.
it up and they gave us
Yeah.
Maroon 5 and Adam Levine slowly stripping throughout the
What was the
performance.
song that
Oh, we
you-
did
God.
what
We
you doing
wrote
with
a
all the
song.
nips or something?
Yeah, we wrote the next week after we wrote an Super Bowl halftime
Yeah,
song
because I was
where
so
he
mad.
talked shit on Adam Levine's nipples.
But
the
cut to
whole song.
cut to 3 days ago, we're at the Cinder, and I'm sitting there singing along to every single Maroon 5 song that comes on, going, "Do I like Maroon 5?"
I think I do.
Like,
What
God damn
happened
it.
to me?
That
It's like the
sucks.
Bud Light.
Yeah. So I was wondering, do you guys think
Maroon 5 is the Bud Light
it's
of
the
bands.
Bud Light of bands? You're right.
You don't want to admit it, but
Jesus
you fucking
Christ.
love it.
Oh, call back already. I dig. All right, now, do you guys have any bands? Because, like, again, we were saying, we were looking through it. There have been a lot of, like, combinations of people. That's generally what it is.
Yeah.
Like, Prince played on his own before he died, and then he played again after he died. They hologrammed Prince after his death, and that was a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
well, that
they've
was the
had...
Eagles one too.
I mean,
Yeah,
the only one
that's true.
the one that stands out for me, and the only one that even is Black Eyed Peas, and it was terrible.
I really
there was
liked...
a bunch of terrible.
Black
ones.
Eyed Peas was
Right?
bad. Bruno Mars was one of the best performances I've ever
yeah, I
seen
remember seeing
because
With
he-
Mick Jagger?
was that Mick Jagger?
It was no, he was on it
He was-
twice. Though.
He was on it twice? Okay. Because there
Bruno
was
Mars
a
was
Mick
on
Jagger
it
Rolling
twice. There
Stones
was,
one.
but
yeah,
it wasn't
and I
just
think Bruno
him
Mars
every
was
time.
a part of that, and that
And-
was actually pretty good.
And there
Well,
was
one was Bruno Mars and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Red Hot Chili
and
Peppers.
then
That
the
was
other
that.
one
And then
was-
there definitely was a Rolling Stones in
Yeah, I
sync
think
matchup in like
there was.
2000, 2001.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
remember that.
But one of the ones that I always think back to was it was actually the first night in my life I ever consumed alcohol. I was hardcore straight edge in high school. And
You mean when you were 21?
No, I'll allow that. Yeah, so I was 21, more than
Graduated late.
21, and it was at least 7 years ago. Either way, what happened? But we were at my buddy's parent, or his dad owned a cafe. We were watching the Super Bowl inside the cafe on Crystal Street. And our buddy, the aforementioned Steve, pulls out a bottle of Jack Daniels, and we both fill up a half a pint glass
was
of
this
Jack
the night
Daniels.
Steve broke edge?
This
too?
is me and Steve breaking edge for the first time. We were like the last ones in the crew to not like have drunk. So we poured half a glass of Jack Daniels and we downed him, and then we're worried why we didn't get drunk and why it tasted so bad. Like we were all real confused. But at that party, Paul McCartney was the halftime show.
Okay.
And I can appreciate that until one girl in the room starts going, why the hell does anybody care about Jesse McCartney's dad? And I'm like, and Jesse McCartney, such an old reference.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
he was a pop star in 2003, 2004. He was in that fucking Joaquin Phoenix Walk the Line movie playing
Yeah.
Elvis. Like, he was somebody. But this chick had no idea who Paul McCartney was and thought it was Jesse McCartney's father.
Oh my god.
And it just leads me to believe that there is no way to make there's never a way
There's
to make
one way.
everybody happy. But Paul McCartney, like, you can't just get behind Paul McCartney being the performer. Like, you're going to know at least one song. You're going to not be offended by anything he does. And still somebody was sitting there going, this fucking old piece of shit. Like, no, get him out of here. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Like,
I don't get it.
Scary.
I really liked when Lady Gaga did it. That was 3 or 4 years
Oh
ago.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
good.
Lady
that was
Gaga's
really
good.
I like her.
I feel like you have to do a collaboration thing. You have to get a couple of people in, or you have to give it to somebody like her or Katy Perry, because Katy Perry went nuts.
Oh, I remember that one.
And
That
she
was
had
good.
Snoop Dogg. She had everybody showing up, and so it was like collabs, but it was
Yeah.
mainly her. I think it's an entertainment thing. Like, it's not for the people watching the football game. That is for everybody that's suffering through the football game. Now
Right.
you get a break. You get commercials, and now you get this break. Once a year, you are forced to watch one football
Right.
game, and this is your reward.
Yeah.
You're never gonna make everybody happy. So again, if you're mad about the
So it's the
Spanish,
opposite
if you're
for
mad about the ass,
football fans,
go away.
I get to watch football most of the year,
Yeah.
and then once a year I have to deal with
you have to
this
suffer
fucking
with
halftime
one
bullshit.
halftime show.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the other option would be, let's just go back to, like, marching bands, and then there would be, like, a professional level of
No, there
marching
needs
bands,
to
and there
be
could be a competition to get to it. Like, you could really
More
fucking...
more
And that was
fucking.
for-
That
Bring
should
it
be a
back.
part of it no matter what.
Other
Yeah.
channels need to start doing shows for halftime.
They
Yeah.
do though.
Yeah.
They-
Some,
other
certain
channel-
other
oh,
Yeah,
channels
yeah.
will time
they're
things.
like
yeah.
Puppy
The Puppy
Bowl.
Bowl.
Well,
Puppy
Puppy
Bowl
Bowl, but I mean,
happens.
like Beavis and Butthead used to do
But
one.
there was there was an animation thing.
You know?
I saw the commercial for it. It was late. It was on YouTube. A whole stoner trippy animation thing that played during halftime
Hell
live on YouTube, I think.
Awesome.
Okay.
See,
Where you
growing
could
up,
switch to that if
Yeah.
if that was what you
Growing
liked.
up, we always watched the Super Bowl at our church or at a church event, and they would never show the halftime show because, Jesus might not like it. So they would show us bloopers during the commercials. We would not be allowed to watch the commercials because they're advertising beer. And then the one year, we actually had Reggie White in person preach to us
Oh.
in front of everybody, like 2 years before he died.
Wow.
wild.
And it was absurd.
This
He
was in New York?
No, at ESU. He was
Oh.
here at ESU.
Holy shit.
Every church in the area kind of all grouped together. We went there, and I'm sorry, all of the non-Catholic churches. You guys weren't invited because you get babies wet and shit, and you have to talk in a box, and we don't like that whole thing. But everybody else was invited. And so that was our halftime show, was like that, or like Team Impact, the muscle guys that rip phone books apart and
Oh my
break
gosh.
fucking chairs over their head or whatever the fuck they
That's
did.
a great thing. Instead
Oh,
of
it was
beer.
amazing. Instead of beer and instead of
Violence.
watching a dude breaking a bat over his neck for Jesus,
Rich, we
Way
were
better.
talking about that earlier. me
What
and
does he
Kyle.
bring it up?
He said people also need to realize how crazy it is to construct a stage and set it up and set
In
up
that amount
sound
of
in
time.
5 minutes. I see a lot of bitching about lip syncing, but it's honestly hard not
Dude,
to
they're-
do with how much
They're
can go
dancing their
wrong.
asses off.
I couldn't
Fuck
sing
Yeah,
that
who cares?
or dance
Yeah,
that.
I feel like who
No.
cares?
I mean, I feel like the only real way that it would work to get an actual group would be to have something like the Gorillas, where it's an actual massive screen that fucking opens up.
Yeah.
And it's because it's an animated fucking
But
band.
see, for that,
or
that's only
Death
good
Clock.
for one side of the crowd. Then
Sure.
you got that. The other half is getting the.
I mean, they
backside.
have enough dancey shit that they could just do a fucking remix with
But
some
it's the
other
butts.
artists.
It's the butts that matter. So.
Yeah, that's why
Honestly-
this year's was a win.
There were, I mean, Shakira and J Lo,
I love
both of
Shakira.
their
She's
hips
awesome.
do not lie. They tell the
No.
truth time and time again.
The whole time, my dad
Oh,
kept
Lord.
True
telling
story. True
me,
story.
story.
I love Shakira. You
True
know?
story. You love
I really-
Shakira?
Yeah, I believe you.
I
My
do
mom,
too. I
my
love
mom
Shakira
was
too.
like, "Shut up! You just like the way she shakes her ass."
No, but I
He's
like her, and I don't
no,
like her
no,
shakes her
I like Shakira.
Hey, just because she shakes her ass
She's
doesn't mean she
amazing.
doesn't have
She's
great
amazing.
music. It's like the most infectious music. I realized watching that how many J Lo and Shakira songs I know almost all of the words
Like
to.
Maroon 5.
Yes, like Maroon 5. I'm starting to realize something about
I
myself.
wish Wyclef would have come out though.
Oh.
On the one with the horns.
Oh, Jean?
Yeah, because he's on that song.
Yeah.
You know?
That would have been cool. Yeah, there weren't a lot of other people. They did bring
Just that
J-Lo's daughter
Spanish
on
guy.
stage.
Yeah, that
who
was kind of
raps.
neat.
That was cool.
I'm glad her mom redressed for that
Yes,
part.
yes.
She did. You notice that?
She got a little bit more modest there. And then I got confused because I had to I was working, so I had to go in the kitchen, and I turned around, and they're still talking about J-Lo's daughter, and I look up, and it's Shakira again, but it's like her ass, and I went, oh no. Oh no! Because I'm thinking, that's a pretty nice looking butt. Well, how old is this daughter of... I mean, J-Lo's 50, and that's impressive for her body at 50.
Yeah,
But I'm
amazing.
like, her daughter could be like 20, right? She could be 20. Oh, it's your daughter with Mark Anthony? Oh, she's like 12. She's 12. And then someone goes, God, that's Shakira. And I went, thank Jesus. Thank Jesus that 41-year-old lady is beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, all right. Well, speaking of beautiful, we're going to jump into our first song of the evening, our featured single from Sweetnest, one of our longtime contributors here to the show. The single is called Detached, and it's off their new split EP, Bearings, which is a split with a fellow Scranton, Wilkes-Barre-based band, A Fire with Friends. If you like what you hear, you can go check them out at Sweetnest PA on Instagram. You can also find them Spotify and YouTube. And next week, we will be playing a song from A Fire with Friends, also off of this EP. So it's kind of a part 1 of 2 for this week and next week. Without any further delay, let's jump right into Detached. Again, this is from Sweetnest. You can find them Instagram at SweetnessPA and also available on iTunes, YouTube and Spotify. I gotta stop saying fucking iTunes. I'm an old man. That
Yeah,
don't
you
exist
are.
no more.
No
It
more.
does. And I still use it.
It
every
does.
fucking day.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't have support anymore.
It's not
so
supported.
It's going away.
But we're gonna support this.
It
So
will.
here it is, Detached from
It'll
Sweetness.
turn into
Apple,
something
it's
else.
just Apple Music now.
Well,
but
yeah,
on,
yeah.
on my computer, it's still called iTunes, okay?
You can rename anything. You can call it AdTunes if you want. It's not a big change. but
Ass
it's a change.
music.
Ass
I use
music.
ass music.
This is definitely not ass music. Here's Detached from Sweetnest. We'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
feet on the carpet. Yeah, I'm miles away. And it's not like I want it. Sometimes I can't help it. Can't feel my feet on the carpet. Yeah, I'm miles away. And I'm so detached. My mind fades to black. Who I was, I may never know. Again, 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 that person is not my friend.
Alrighty, guys, there you have it again. That is Detached from Sweetnest off Bearings, the split EP with A Fire with Friends. Again, we'll be playing a song from A Fire with Friends. I mean, we were all just kind of saying while we were listening to it, the girl, Amanda, amazing voice, like such a well-controlled voice. She has her sound, and if you listen back to past episodes or just go back and listen to her music from the last couple of years, she's kind of always seemed to, like, she's known who she is, she knows what her sound is, but the production quality is getting better. Her and her band, they're just getting tighter. So definitely keep an eye out for everything coming out from Sweetnest.
Is that out
there.
already?
That is, I believe that is already dropped. Yeah, it's
Okay,
available.
cool.
You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on YouTube. Not sure about Apple Music / iTunes, but I know you can find it on those other two platforms. Now, every week, the three of us sit down and we like to write, record, mix, and master an entire song in about 4 hours. Zach comes up with an idea, and usually we're working on an album of sorts. And right now we are working on an album called The Epitome of Definition. That is a math rock album. So this is our third song on that album. Zach, what went into the thought process behind the song, and what is the name of the song this week, since we're doing definitions of words and really diving into what that word means and the emotions they evoke?
Gloom.
Gloom. Gloom and
It's
doom.
sad.
It is very sad.
I was just playing around acoustic yesterday. I was playing inverted major thirds. Mm-hmm. Which major third is happy, but when you play it inverted, it has this nasty quality to it that makes it sound not happy anymore.
Yeah.
So that was like the main riff came to me by just trying to take something pretty and make it sound not pretty.
Now,
But mathematically, it's pretty, but it's not.
yeah. Were there any specific bands? I know we've got our required listening list that you sent us before the season. Was there any band that you were specifically kind of pulling from on this single?
Not in the sound, but like in sort of the. I know you guys had said Toadies, and I wanted to do something where we played the same riff a lot of times, even though it doesn't sound like them. Like they, especially in that song that was on the list, it's like they bang that riff into your head, and we never do that. I'm always the kind of like,
there's 48
play the riff
different
one
parts.
time through, and then we'll play the next riff, and then we'll play the next one, and we don't ever go back.
Yeah, the sentence, oh, that's really good. Sucks that we only do that once, has been uttered probably every week, every other week.
Yeah.
So I definitely wanted to hammer some of these parts in and play them over again.
Now, with the math rock, we're
what
doing
I've
a lot of
seen or
weird
what I've
time
heard.
signature and time changes and everything like that. How many time signature changes are there in this song?
I don't know.
Like 17?
20 more. I don't know.
20 more than the last one. And Justin, how did this one work for you on drums?
Oh,
this was
a fun one.
This was fun.
Justin was struggling a little bit.
Yeah, man.
I took a nap and I woke up to Justin drumming and I was like, oh, it sounds pretty good. And I go upstairs and I'm just like, we're like barely halfway through like recording the drum parts. And then I sat there and I watched what you were doing and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? What the hell? You had to like cut things in certain ways to like loop it, and it was all over the fucking place. But difficult week for you.
Yeah.
But you got
That's
there.
fair.
You got there as always.
There's some really cool shit in here. It's a wild sounding, at least from what I heard.
Yeah, because again, our thing here is
Wild
that
shit
we
in there.
do not listen to the song all the way through until we're live here with you guys. So everybody is hearing it for the first time all together. Now, lyrically, the song, again, it's called Gloom. So Zach kind of, you said one part kind of had like a, what did you say, Zelda feel to it?
Yeah,
Final Fantasy feel to it.
I was saying like castles and swamps. I've been playing The Witcher 3 a lot. I'm thinking about, it's just like a shitty swamp. That whole game takes place in a shitty fucking swamp.
As opposed to good swamps.
That is gloomy to me.
Yeah.
There are good swamps, but there's darker,
Those
crappier.
are called Everglades. Those are called Everglades. Those are the only good swamps. And we are losing them slowly. At least that's what they told me in like 5th grade. Did we lose them yet? I don't know if we lost the Everglades.
Maybe it's been really slow.
Really slow. We are slowly losing the Everglades. So yeah, lyrically, I just wrote a song. Like you said, swamp, feeling stuck, or not feeling stuck, but the gloom. And to me, I was like, okay, it's swampy. You're in the same atmosphere, and then I kind of got to the okay, you're feeling stuck, and you're just super depressed, and you're not changing anything. You don't feel like you have the energy to change anything. And so lyrically, this just became probably the most depressing song that I've written lyrics for us, at least. Maybe for my solo stuff, I have more depressing things.
You struggled too, though, getting some of those, the feel of some of those time changes.
Because in the middle of the verse, it changes time, and I'm just like, can you like take that part out or take that part out? Because there's like a boom, boom, boom that's happening in a weird spot, and it definitely. The funny thing was the easiest part, the little bridge, took the longest to record.
Yeah.
That was the most fun for me, for sure. Was one line that I had to say twice, and I just could not get the spot. And as much as we're built for speed, and maybe there's some cut and paste here and there, we try to get everything done as real as possible. Now, what time did we come in at on this? A little over 6 minutes? Did we hit 7 minutes?
Not 7.
Not 7.
Less than 7.
Now, this is still short for us compared to last year. 6:16. That's nothing.
Short.
Last week, our song was 2 minutes and 37 seconds, so we owed you a couple more minutes after that. So, hey, without any further delay, let's jump right into the latest single from our album, The Epitome of Definition. This is the Brunch Weekly Original Single, Gloom. Enjoy, and we'll see you guys in just over 6 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next guest on Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up.
All right, guys, there you have it. That was our Brunch Weeklg Original Single. And joining us here on the main camera now, we have the Feeling Good duo, Alicia and Kroog, a.k.a. Bossman. How we doing, guys? Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, hell yeah. I remember I was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait, why the fuck did I don't have you guys on? Like we're a bunch of musicians. We like to do a bunch of dumb, stupid shit. You're a bunch of musicians. I don't want to say you like to do a bunch of stupid shit, but
all the
I would say you can say
He does
that.
double the
She
dip,
lets
so
me
I
know
don't
what I
have
do.
to.
Yes, sir. Now, as I said earlier, I met you guys through working at the Cinder. And over the last year or so, you guys have been much more steadily involved there, running the open mics. And
Don't worry. We're good.
don't worry.
I'm not worried.
I was telling Justin earlier today. There was a day where I think it was right after Kroog, you jumped out of the airplane. And
I had a parachute on. Nobody worried.
you had a parachute and a person on you.
And a very small
A
person.
very small person. That is a good point to bring up.
6'5".
You're 6'5",
5'5".
and a 5'5" guy was strapped to
No
your back.
joke.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So one of the regulars at the bar went down and
A couple of them
went
yeah.
down and saw you, get into your landing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to one of the regulars and he goes, "Yeah, it was crazy, blah blah blah." And they're all doing the, "Why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane?" and all that bullshit talk. And the one guy goes, "So I know we call him like Kroog and Bossman, but does anybody know his real name?" And I was just like, "Oh, I don't."
I don't either.
And then I went up to Alicia and she goes, and she literally stuttered for a half a second.
Because I've never.
You've never called him that.
Never.
Which
ever.
immediately I was like, good, fine. I wanted to make sure I wasn't
I call him
being
Kroog.
rude.
I call him Kroog.
Kroog,
Yeah.
Bossman,
Bossman.
that's where it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just always was like, I loved people that I knew as a nickname, and then
Yeah.
years later I'd be like, wait, you have a real name? Like Slacky. We all know his name is Mark Slacky now, but for years it was just Slacky. It was Slacky. I knew Slacky. He was the dude that worked the door at Jock and Jill's or Front Row.
My drummer, I don't know his last. I
You
knew
know-
his last name until recently. I'm like, wait, Brian, what is your last name?
Really?
Because
Yeah.
Be Easy.
Yeah.
So I know someone's like, what's his last name? I'm like, I don't know. It's not even on Facebook.
It's not. Yeah. There you go.
Easy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's be easy. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, right?
It's pretty simple.
It's like he's Kroog. What do you mean real name?
Yeah, real name. But with Slacky, it was 5 years into knowing him. Someone and Justin, you said you had a similar instance.
Yeah,
where
somebody was like, "Hey, can you go get Mark?" I'm like, "Who
the fuck is Mark?" And someone called him Mark in front of me. I looked at him. I'm like, "You liar! That is not your name. That is not your name." But the two of you, not only are you a musical duo, but you are a couple as well.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to kind of talk about here, since I don't have to eat anything disgusting tonight, we can just have a nice, relaxing
disgusting.
drinking.
Right.
It could be disgusting. I like disgusting love stories and stuff like that. I've seen Serendipity
Well, we got
12
one for
times.
Oh,
Wonderful.
man, don't admit that. Don't admit that.
Serendipity is a great movie. It's got
It's
John
okay.
Cusack. It's amazing. Come on, it's clever.
I love you anyway.
So, what is, before we get into your history as individual musicians, the history of the two of you kind of coming together, was the couple first or was it a duo first?
It was, I hired him to work for me first.
Ooh,
Heavy.
you were.
And I knew it was in trouble.
Nice.
I walked into my bookkeeper and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in
you
trouble.
could meet Dewar right now.
Yeah!
That's why he's the boss man, okay?
Now he's the boss. You gotta give him that title.
Yeah. No, he earns it. He totally.
So you hired him to play with
No.
as
Totally nothing to do with music.
nothing to do
That was
with
a pool
music.
boy.
A pool boy.
Like a band boy.
Yeah, very nice.
No. He was hired for whatever, working contracting with my company.
Very cool. And then how quickly into you guys working together did you find out that he was musically inclined?
Oh, that was right away.
Right away?
Actually, I already knew about it from the person he came recommended from. But then I went up to see him. He was in a do it with Andy Moses for a long time. They've been friends for
I
a long
love
time.
Andy Moses.
Yeah, they've been friends since very young. So
Very cool.
So I went to see them a few hundred times, I think.
Yeah.
Showing your cards a little bit, showing up that many
Totally
times.
not interested at
Not
all.
at all. So then, how long into the working and the knowing
Till we
that
hung
he was a
out,
musician?
did whatever.
Till you hung out and played music.
Okay, so that's the first time I actually ever played live music.
Really?
Yes.
Was after my request.
Very cool.
Right.
So were you?
She took Andy and I up to a bar up in Lake Harmony to
get him a gig.
to get us a gig,
Because I know the owner.
and it was a karaoke night.
And
Yeah.
he's like, come on.
Not one of my favorite things in the world to do. Go spend
Okay.
the night
The
playing
quick of it is-
karaoke.
the quick
However,
of it. I got up
she
and
got
sang.
up and sang.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You're not gonna.
"You're
do
not
that
singing
anymore.
karaoke anymore."
Yeah. No more. No more.
So
you
that was-
hired me. I
that
am
was-
hiring you now.
Yeah, to answer your question, I was 6 months in. And
6 months in, very
was the
cool.
first performance, and it was on Art on Main, right out on Main Street at
Okay.
the corner of Main and 7th. Me, first time ever performing.
And were you in your personal background then as a musician? This is like your first your
I
first
sang all the
step
time.
into
I
it.
mean, all the time. Almost.
Were you in
Never-
school like choir or anything like
Nope,
that?
Stopped choir at 6th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that shocks me because I mean, knowing you and having heard you sing, you come off as somebody who has just been doing this for forever.
Just a
And
perfectionist. I keep trying and trying. I'm gonna get it
well,
right.
it's, you gotta
Right.
hell,
gotta keep
hell yes,
practicing,
you gotta
yeah.
keep practicing. I mean, that's it makes prefect. I think is the phrase,
Yeah,
right?
prefect.
Practice
Never-
makes prefect. I
Doesn't-
think that's
definitely
what
doesn't
it
make perfect.
is. Doesn't make perfect. Makes prefect.
Practice makes pastrami.
Yes.
Yes.
I love
You can't make
pastrami.
pastrami without practicing. That's a
Speaking
true
of
Travis
which,
statement.
pastrami?
tongue sandwiches. I have to hear more
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this.
he ate those tongue sandwiches.
Oh, they were
All
so
week.
good.
He ate tongue all week last week. That is
You
a
know, if
true
you would have brought that
statement.
to the Cinder, I would have tried it.
It was good.
It was good. It was. I mean, not the part with the hairs on it, but the rest of it was good. So then, so you were just interested in music. You were a fan of music.
Oh.
You would sing. You would do karaoke and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but I always my parents were true hippies. Like first concert
Okay.
I was at was Grateful Dead. So like my
How
parents-
old were you for that?
It was the year he died. 1 month before he died.
Whoa.
He played with Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
That was which stadium? I forget which stadium it was now, but I have the tickets still actually.
New
Damn.
York somewhere.
Yeah, so that was my first concert, and so like they listened to everything,
Yeah.
all genres, from
Yeah.
heavy metal to everything. So I
Yeah.
just got exposed to it, I guess.
That's awesome.
And I didn't even realize. He'd be like, "Do you know this song?" And I'd be like, "No." And then he'd play. I'm like, and then I'd sing all the lyrics. Like, "Oh, you didn't know
That's
this song."
amazing. You know, funny. Speaking of Grateful Dead, because I know that's something that the both of you, I mean, playing, out at the bars and stuff. You definitely play a lot, and you're definitely big fans of the Dead. My brother Keith, who's in the chat, but whatever. He one time we were talking about how both of us we're not Dead fans. Our dad did not raise us to like that. We're not really big jam band guys or anything. And then he goes, I don't like the Dead. And then he admitted to me that he didn't like Tom Petty. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, maybe you just don't like music. Like, you're a musician. And he goes, the only Tom Petty song I like is that Touch of Grey song. And I went, yeah, no, you like the Dead, not Tom Petty. And he goes, damn it, I don't like Tom Petty. I don't like any Tom Petty songs. I just like that.
You're not American.
You're
You're
not
like Tom Petty.
There you go, brother. Go. You're real close to Mexico. Leave and go. But yeah. So both of us, we're not really raised knowing any of that style of music. But the Dead is definitely instilled in what you guys do live. Like, you definitely.
Yeah. Wherever we go, it's the thing that actually the most of the audience likes
Yeah.
at least one song.
Yeah.
One, not like.
And they might not even know it's a Dead song.
Yeah, they
was
don't.
it-
They
was
don't
Cripple
realize.
Cripple Creek. What there?
No,
Who's-
that's the
what's
band.
that? That's the band.
Yeah.
See, for me, you get to that era, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, it was my dad liked music up until like 70, and then he started liking music at like when Chicago and the Eagles got bad. So like 80, like he just took like a 10-year gap.
Oh,
like
no.
went to Woodstock. So like I grew up like loving Chicago and loving
Yeah.
like CCR and loving the Beatles, but the whole gap of like what happened during the 70s in anything other than radio-friendly rock, like I had no fucking
idea.
clue. So what about you, Kroog? What was your growing up? What was your influences? How did you get into music? How long have you
How
been
did I get into
playing?
music? 5 years old, forced to play the piano.
Really?
Yeah.
But thank goodness.
Hell yeah! That's one of those things that I hear people complain about it when I when I was younger. I'd be
At
like,
that
God
age?
damn it! I wish I was forced to do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Like, I would practice for the 1 hour right before the lesson. The whole week would go by, and I would do the same thing, so I was terrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it. They
He
let
wasn't
me.
terrible to learn.
I went for like a year or two. then they let me stop. My parents and I got back into it in junior high when everybody else was starting to play music.
Okay.
So I already had a foundation.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was the only keyboard player in town.
Hell yeah. So keyboards was your number one.
To start, yeah.
That was your start. And then did you go right to guitar? Did you dabble in a couple other
I
instruments?
taught myself guitar maybe from like 10, 11 years old. I had an uncle show me a few chords, and then I just took it from there. And I figured I can't strap a piano on my back and go to college, so let's focus more on guitar.
And did you go to college to do music, or was music just still a happy, fun time thing for you, and you were going to college for quote-unquote real things?
In my first year of college, I just went to college, but I took piano classes. I went back to piano, took piano classes in there. Classical, learned Rachmaninoff and some Mozart. But then went to culinary school.
Okay.
Totally
He's a
different.
chef.
Whole
Very
nother
cool. So
conversation.
3 chefs in the room. It does seem to be a
seems to
recurring thing.
Yeah, it runs in
We
at
have
least in this
musicians
area.
and chefs in this area.
Because they're art. That's all art.
It
All of
is
it
all
art.
art, and it's something you can do to
It's
pay
like
the
the
bills
Wild
while you're
West.
trying to do the thing
Yeah,
you like
right?
doing.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
a Wild West
you
of
can marry
the
a boss.
fucking working industry
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
Mary Boss.
Yeah.
At least on a more corporate side, anyway.
So so you said 6 months into you guys knowing each other is when the first performance happened, and then from there, were you a couple at that point, or did the
were
couple come
actually-
to a little later?
Yeah, we were already living together at that point.
Damn.
We met in November and we were married in August.
Hell yeah.
I didn't take my time.
You know, why bother?
made it happen.
Why bother? When you know, you know.
I knew what was going on.
Hell yeah. And then, so 6 months into your first performance, were you immediately like, okay, like this went well, now we're just going to try to pursue this
Yeah, we
as
had
much as
named the
possible?
band and we started playing. I'd say we played like once a month, twice a month maybe. And this is we're only talking about 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. I was saying, you guys have
And
been
now
married
it's
about 4 years,
Now
so
it's
yeah.
a whole lot more than that, but
Definitely is. I would say that you guys not only like your work life, you are hardworking in your work lives, which is very evident on your social media. You know, you can see everything you're doing all the time when you're promoting it. But then you get done with work and then you go and play gigs. You go and run open mics. How many open mics do you run?
it's 2 that we run.
2 that you run?
Yeah, one is every week, one is every other.
Okay.
And then a regular gig. So most of the times we have 3 to 4 gigs a week.
In addition to your open mics?
No.
Or including?
Counting,
Okay,
counting.
I was
So
saying,
it's not
Jesus
all-
Christ, you're a psychopath.
No.
Yeah.
We have
8
day
days
job.
a week.
8 days a week.
We have a day job that works 7 days a week, so
Yeah.
it's tricky, but we love it. This is not.
Is
once you
it
get
all
there,
in this
play-
area? All the
It's
open
all the
mics?
way up to. We
The
play all the way
greater
out.
Pocono region.
Yeah, we do.
I
We
would
play
say.
Allentown. We play Lake Harmony. We play all the way out to Whitehaven. Where's Mansion House? Summit Hill. All over the
Okay,
place.
all right.
Yeah.
Beyond
Now,
Jim Thorpe. Yeah.
Do you remember the first song that you guys decided to work on together?
Yes, because it's the name of our band. How about
Oh,
that? Feeling good. by
Feeling
Nina
good, Nina
Simone.
Simone.
All right.
Brought my guitar into work and said, "I'd like you to sing
And that's
this
why I
song."
like this original that you just wrote because it has
Okay.
a little jazz in there and
Oh.
it has a little like sort of dubstep and it's got a little heavy. I love it.
Well,
all
that's
over the
Zach
place.
there
Yeah.
for you. Zach
I love it.
is an
It's really-
eclectic
really-
motherfucker over here.
Like I legitimately. This
All
is
right, well,
it was
thank
good.
you very much.
Thank
you
you.
very much. Now, you play together as a duo, you do covers and everything. Have you guys ever worked on original music? And have you ever recorded any of it?
He
Never.
has.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, I've recorded songs, but
He's recorded. but we
any
have
of the newer
tons,
stuff that we've done.
Tons and tons of original. Our current one is. Tell him.
What's the
The one we
current one?
wrote 2 days ago.
You wrote a song 2 days ago and you already forgot
Yeah, I
it, Kroog?
googled you, baby.
I
One.
googled you, baby.
I Googled you, baby.
Oh yeah, just wait. It's good.
Oh.
It's kind of like making fun of the whole, whatever. But no, we do
Yeah.
play actually a lot of our originals. We play one a set at least. If
Okay.
we can squeeze it in, depends on the bar. So we do we have one that's damn.
So
like,
I've
Yes.
unknowingly heard your singles and your originals and
yeah.
not
She
known.
lets me the lights on. There's some good. We'll play some. For you
Yeah,
after
point
the
it
set.
out to me.
Oh heck.
The
Just
ones
because
that I play
sometimes
We have
the
a
song
lot of
plays
them.
and I'm like, I
bluesier
don't know. Yeah.
rock songs, but I've written everything from thrash metal to country
joke.
to reggae,
Yeah.
Really.
classical piano, like 8-minute long.
Hell yeah.
Position, yeah.
Now for Kroog, you're saying you wrote like thrash metal and everything like that. What were the first like bands that you got into when you were playing? When everybody else at like that age was starting to get into music, did you have like a band in high school, junior high, college, anything like that you were like, this is the band, we're gonna do it, and this is like put all of our energy into it, like
The
all
band
this
that I was in
weirdos do.
in high school, we played Echoes from Pink Floyd
Okay.
Some, like-
Jesus.
Yeah, that was like right off the bat. All right, we're going with that. We played originals along that line.
You should tell me who was in your band. I'll understand.
Andy Moses was
And
the
Eric
guitar
McClellan.
player for the band.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Brian Hall,
Yeah.
Flying
Yeah,
Blind
they're
on
all
drums.
buddies since little.
That's
and
crazy.
Andy's brother Mike was playing bass until they threw down their guitars and threw punches instead.
That's always a good way to end a band. Punches.
We had Hendrix and Zeppelin and
Freebird.
Floyd. Wow,
You did though.
Freebird.
They played for their
Freebird.
school and they made them play it.
That is definitely, I mean, for you guys in your experience, is that the most shouted at you thing? Is
Yes.
it that or Slayer? Which one gets
Slayer.
shouted? Slayer?
No, it's not more
Yeah.
often Slayer. It's just that Barry says it more times than a night.
And then gets everybody else at the bar saying,
And
Slayer.
have you ever learned at least a little bit of Rain and Blood or anything just
No,
to play it?
but I
I'm
think
ashamed to say no.
no. We have every intention of learning some Slayer for Barry for 4th of July.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
that'd be
playing their 4th of
amazing.
July.
I got to
great.
do Angel of Death. It's got a real good scream in the beginning. And it's like,
You'll come up and do that, right? You'll do that
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Just sample
Oh,
Zach
I'm
live.
a big Slayer guy.
I love it.
Yeah. Now, all right. So you guys started playing together, and how would you say that being a couple and a musical duo? How has that helped you guys with communication when you're working on things, or
Oh,
how has that
no.
been a challenge
Therapy.
for you?
Well, she knows where to find
Therapy
me.
time. Yes. She knows where to find
Yeah,
you.
I'm playing
Asshole,
guitar.
get
It's
up
helped
right
us-
now.
I actually think it's helped us be able to tolerate each other because we work all day together, but then we can do music together, which is an outlet,
Yeah.
and we can do it while dinner's cooking. So who else can do that? We can just hop in this room, dinner's simmering, and we're just a couple
Just,
songs,
yeah,
and then we'll
practicing.
eat, then we'll go back. It's kind of cool.
Now, do you guys try to keep fresh and current with new songs coming out, adding to your repertoire,
I'm
or
good about
looking
that.
backwards and going, I've always wanted to do this song and pulling that in?
He goes
little.
back, I go forward.
You go back? Or you...
Not
I'd
a
rather
full
play
phone.
everything from the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Okay.
But then I'll tell him, hey, I heard Million Reasons. We need to do that. Hey, I heard this one. We need to try to make it our own and do it.
Hell yeah. Has
Couple
there
modern
ever been a song that you, Alicia, proposed and Kroog, you
Give
just
it a
went,
veto.
nope, never
It's
doing
me
that
who does
one.
that.
Yeah, you veto?
Yeah, I'm the
veto.
veto.
Yeah.
And I've done it a lot. I'm like, no, we're not doing it. But then again, I've come back to it 3 months later. I'm like, oh, this sounds good. And he's like, we had it in there 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's always
She'll
right.
veto a song and then be like,
You gotta plant
let's
the
do
seed
this
in her
song. Like,
brain.
all right,
Right,
I'll just put it
totally,
back
he's
in the
got
book.
that
And
Let
idea.
her forget it and then remember it as her own idea, like
But, you know,
a couple weeks later.
You
Yeah.
got being in a music couple, people that I know that are musicians, they're like, oh, I'm dating this girl, and maybe she's not into music or whatever, at all
Yeah.
to some degree.
Oh, that's
They are so miserable, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to find a musician because this works because we can't get miserable.
Or at
and
least
that's
somebody that
pissing.
appreciates music the
Exactly.
way you do.
Like,
They
if-
might not
if
want to be a
music
But they
musician.
is
enjoy it,
your
listen
life,
to it, or-
you can't have somebody
Yeah.
that does not care about music. If it brings you that much joy, that much pleasure on a daily basis,
Exactly.
talking to somebody that either hates your music or dating somebody that hates your music and or just
Yeah.
does not like music at all.
That blows my. Those are people that I distance myself from. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
What do you listen to? Oh, I'm not really into music. Like,
Whoa.
what?
It's
I'm
weird.
not really interested in getting to know
Right,
you.
yeah.
It's weird to me when we had a dishwasher that worked at Jock's for a while named Jared, and I talked to him one day. I was like, "What kind of music you listen to?" He's like, "Oh, I just download singles."
Like he
a
doesn't.
dishwasher that doesn't listen to music, he downloads
just
singles.
singles.
Just singles.
Singles.
Like he didn't have a favorite band, couldn't
Wow.
talk about the artist, none
Nothing.
of that shit.
Just
Just
individual
found a
songs.
song, liked it,
Yeah.
downloaded it.
Yeah, that's baffling to me because I mean I definitely have listened to a lot of singles. There's definitely dozens, hundreds,
I
probably.
mean, the amount of
bands.
just putting on a fucking radio
Yeah.
and listening to
yeah,
singles.
just something.
You hear things,
something.
but if something gravitates, if I gravitate towards something, if I go, oh, this is phenomenal, I then become a nerd about them
Yeah,
for the
you go
next
How
find
old
out
is
day
the
and a half.
dishwasher?
I don't know,
He was a
17?
kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's such a difference in how
Yeah, you
people
sound old.
consume
You sound old.
music
Yeah.
these days.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
this was at least 7 years,
7, 8
8
years ago, but still,
you know what I
like,
mean?
you grow up in the time
But
period
still.
of things being released mostly as singles.
Yeah.
We kind of went backwards in the music industry. It used to only be singles.
Yeah.
Well,
and
now
then
it's making a
the 60s
resurgence
became
of
albums,
full
and the
albums.
last 10, 15 years seem to be mostly singles. Obviously, they were off of albums, but people push them a lot more.
Well,
And
because
then-
all those companies are making $1 a fucking single.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep, that's
buy
all
singles,
they care
buy
about.
fucking
Yeah.
singles,
Here's
buy
your 10
them.
cents.
It's
yeah,
the
here's your
attention
10
span
cents
too, though.
band that
Good
did
job
all
for
the
writing
work.
a song.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for giving us this money to make.
a nice shiny nickel.
Man, I'd love to make even a nickel.
A nickel would be great. Zach's
I'll take a
just,
nickel.
Zach's just upset because
We're
he writes all
accepting
this
nickels.
music for the show and we don't pay him or me or Justin. This is all for free. Send
For the
a
love
bill.
of the music, because
Yeah.
music, that's the thing about musicians. Music always is going to come first. You
Yeah.
have to
Sure.
understand that. If you're
I mean,
Definitely.
anytime that we do anything, we're like, this isn't making money, but if it does, cool.
Cool. Like if down the road we have to worry about contracts and fucking like giving rights to people and shit, like that's a fun
I
problem
mean,
to
we've
have
gone
down
through
the
the
road.
proper
It is.
loopholes for like full albums when we did with Remy,
Yeah.
because Remy was like, I want to push this, I want to possibly
Yeah, you
make
went
money
AMI,
one day,
right?
whatever. Well,
what
I
was
mean, here the whole BMI thing, BMI, one of
Yeah, one of them.
one of the companies, but I mean, we actually sent the songs out, like got them in the Library of Congress and all that shit. So that album is like fully legit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because he
Humble
wanted
brag
to.
over
No. I mean, it's super cheap. You can put like 50
yes,
songs on
yeah,
for
it's not
like,
too bad.
or it's like 200 songs on for $70.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's not
mean?
expensive.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
It's just a process. It takes 11 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like
Child could be born first.
people, pretty much. But I mean, like you have to figure the amount of submissions that they're probably
Yeah, oh my
getting and
God,
have to
yeah.
go through that shit.
Yeah.
And if you're submitting multiple things, I mean, if you're submitting like a song, it'll probably take you a couple months. If you're submitting like multiple albums, it's probably going to take 11 months for them to go through that shit and clear it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
something to know if you want to release music, like, and want to put it in
A
the
lot of
Library of
people don't
Congress and stuff like that.
Do that.
No, but I mean, it's the only way to fully protect your music
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
worried
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
it.
so
ending
yeah,
up
what we
somewhere.
have on Apple Music or whatever is in the Library of Congress. I
Yeah.
feel good about that.
That's
You know.
football, will ya?
Oh, the
My
screw
kind of
balls.
lady.
Oh.
But if you want to steal anything that we've ever played on the show, then
Go
I
ahead,
guess
use
they
it.
can steal it.
You could definitely
Well, it's fun.
probably steal it for sure. Now, Alicia, you said your first concert ever was
Oh,
the
thank you,
Grateful
sir.
Dead. Now, that was you brought by your parents, correctly? Now, what
Oh, you don't want this answer.
what was the first one that you opted that you were like, I'm gonna go see this band with your friends, solo, anything like that? I'm really excited. Wait, is it New Kids on the Block?
No, it's none.
Okay.
It's legit none.
None?
None. Every time I went to a concert, it was invited by somebody else. It wasn't something
You
I
never
thought
go
of.
to a concert?
I worked day and night always my whole life.
Yeah?
And then I had my daughter pretty young, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that
changes life.
adds up.
Yeah.
Now, is there any artist then that you've always been like, I really want to see them, and I've never gotten a chance to see them that is still alive and the option of seeing?
I guess it would be probably, well, still alive. I guess
Well,
it'd be.
she'd
she's
wanna
mo-
see
she's-
Adele.
I'd want to see Adele. I was gonna say that.
Adele.
Adele, but that's modern. But like
Yeah.
not alive, Patsy Cline. So totally different. See,
Yeah,
like
definitely different.
variety.
Now, for you, Kroog, what was your first concert that you ever went to?
Dinosaur Jr.
Really?
Oh,
That's
hell
awesome.
yeah,
You got to
dude.
see Jay Mask in what year?
Several times actually, but
Yeah.
that would have been 95 or 6.
So, like, right after Reality Bites and that whole soundtrack, they're like top of the world for them at that
Right.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch Reality Bites.
No, you knew like the You're Living All Over Me and everything like prior to that. Yeah.
All of it. I was huge into them, riding on the bus to basketball games, and everybody else is listening to
Oh,
hip hop.
did you
and
play
I'm just in my
basketball?
seat
at-
by
oh,
myself,
really?
Listening to
That's right.
Dinosaur
6'5",
Jr.
really?
and
Yeah,
like
no way.
other.
Yeah.
And
And that was
Jr.
you opted to go to that
Oh, yeah.
yourself.
Oh
And
yeah,
So you got to go to
me and all
the
my
concert
friends.
you picked.
Somebody told me about it, and I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm in on that. We're
Hell yeah.
going to this."
So in that era, what other bands of that like of that feel of that genre? Were you like a Sunny Day Real Estate fan? Did you get into any of the other like weird? I guess it's like the first wave of emo or whatever they call it nowadays, retroactively. But like that not hair metal, not '80s rock, the precursor to kind of like the grunge and everything. Because Dinosaur Jr. set a stage in a weird way for people
They
to
were
make alt
different
rock.
because they were Jay Mascis can solo like crazy.
Yeah.
And like their songs are very punk and aggressive and grunge and almost hardcore even, some of them, like the earlier,
Yeah.
very experimental.
Sure.
Loved it.
Sure.
But I guess close enough to that would have been My Bloody Valentine.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you couldn't have gone to see them.
Yeah.
Did you get into Sonic Youth ever?
And I've seen them, yes.
Yeah.
Saw them with Ween at the
Ween.
end.
Oh, that was a good
my
We was
God.
actually
Yes.
playing
I love Ween.
New York in February 15th.
Really?
14th and 15th.
I actually
Terminal 5.
served breakfast to Kim and Thurston.
Wow.
Where
in
at?
Maine.
Oh, damn.
And I had to open up a brunch at the restaurant I was running up there. And they came in, and I was like, they look so fucking familiar. And it's an open kitchen, and they're sitting right in front of me. And I'm like, they look so familiar.
And
Who are
this is
these
pre
people?
Google Box where you can just go, what
Oh
is it?
yeah,
Yeah, like
this
look
was
through
in
all
like
of your
this
fucking
was
pictures
in
on YouTube.
2001 or 2 or 3, like
Damn, yeah.
early.
Yeah, you didn't have a smartphone sitting there.
Oh
helping
no,
you out. Yeah.
smartphone wasn't born yet.
Nope.
And they left, and a server came in to work her late shift, and she's like, "Oh my god, I just walked past Kim and Thurston." And I just slapped myself in the face.
Yeah.
The steak I was about
Hope
to
you
throw
fed
on
him
the
well,
grill.
though.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Hope you
believe
fed
it.
him well.
I was like,
Oh.
I just served him breakfast.
Damn.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Now, since Alicia, you say you've never opted to go to a concert, you've never picked the concert. Has there ever been a concert that you have forced her to go to that she had no interest in going to and despised the event? And
Can I plug it? Is that
plug
bad?
it.
Go
plug
ahead.
it, unless you
So
don't want
I don't know if
I
it was-
listen to Fish all the time because he
Okay.
listens to Fish all the time. I think they're the world's worst singers, and they get false hope to everyone.
Oh, Trey's so sad
However,
No,
their
he
music
does.
is amazing.
right now. Yeah.
Until I went, till he forced, well, not forced me, of course, I bought him tickets to go to this concert. And I went, holy shit, they're not bad. Like, I was shocked.
You got it. You
3
figured
seconds
it
into
out.
the
Yeah.
song, I was like,
And that's what
or
it
whenever
takes.
they
You got to go
vocals,
see
they
him
vocals.
live, and holy shit, I
That
get
is-
it.
I was
now.
I was blown away.
That is definitely one of those bands that if somebody invited me to go see them live, I'd be like, sure. Because I feel like in a totally different but similar way, a band like Kiss, I don't sit around listening to Kiss, but I would go see Kiss live.
Yeah.
I would
Kiss
go
is
see
playing
anybody
tonight
live.
in Allentown.
Jesus
Right now,
Christ.
Kiss is
Actual
playing in
Kiss.
Allentown.
Yeah, right now.
Farewell
Yes.
tour.
All right, show over.
Wrap it up. Here we go.
I mean, we saw that
How
cover
many concerts
band.
have you been to theirs?
Yeah, there's the cover band.
The
that
cover
comes
band
around.
was
30 or
terrible. Oh man.
30, maybe 40.
40 concerts of Fish.
A
Maybe.
Fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, he reminds me of Spencer. That
Yeah.
Spencer is him and Gloria are both so they go to see Fish 2 or 3
Spencer's the
times
gentleman
a year.
that plays the one
I
for
would-
solo on our opening theme
2 or 3
song.
times a year.
I
I
have
would love to
family
go
that- I have
see him
family that
as
travels
many
around
times as I
the
could,
country.
but 2 or 3 times a year.
Is
I'd
that
be
your
happy
number
with
one that you've seen the most? Have you seen
For
anything
sure.
more than that?
it. Yeah. I don't, who else would be around to...
Nah, you never
Like-
know. Rat Dog, Further, any variations of those leftovers? John
They're
Mayer and the
leftovers.
Grateful
John
Dead.
Mayer.
Leftovers.
Now, how do you feel that you guys like the Grateful Dead? How do you feel about John Mayer and the Grateful Dead?
He has a secret relationship with him,
Oh.
and I
Wait.
I
I heard he's a pervert.
Bring it back. Does John Mayer think your
I'll
body
tell him
is a
everything he
wonderland?
knows.
yeah, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
But no, I don't particularly like him
Your
because
body is a wonderland is
It's-
about
who
6'5"
whispers when they
crude.
say your body is what? It's just, no one sounds like that when they sing.
I love John Mayer.
I got a
I
man
can't-
crush on John Mayer. Let me
Yeah,
know.
see, there it is.
Hey,
There it is.
hey.
He's open for invitation. I think.
It is fine to have a man crush on John Mayer.
Totally.
I always shit talked to him left and right because he came out while I was in high school, and I was like, "Oh my god,
I
your body is a
know.
wonderland. Fuck this shit." And then I saw him on Chappelle's show, and he's just improvising, just like noodling all over the place, and I was like, "Oh, he's a
he rips
guitar
it.
player
Yeah.
that wrote a couple of songs
Yes.
that were catchy, but he is a
I'm
guitarist."
kind
Yes.
of with you on that. I didn't
Yeah.
see the Chappelle show thing, but I saw, or I listened to him do his, he had a trio, the John Mayer trio.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And
that
that's
was
when
really
I'm like,
good.
all right, respect.
Yep.
Like,
And
totally
then
changed my
when
mind
he
after that.
was announced to be a part of the Grateful Dead, did you what were your thoughts? Were you on board with him at that point, or were you kind of like, this is a bad move or a cash grab or
Was it
anything
with
like
the
that?
Grateful Dead, or was it just with Bobby? We're getting real dead here.
Yeah, we're getting real dead. I thought that it was being billed as the Grateful Dead with John Mayer, but like taking the Jerry role. But I mean, it's pretty much either Rat Dog or
I actually
or
had
Further
this
or
conversation
whatever
earlier
version.
today
I'm not
with
going
the
with that.
electrician that came to our
Yeah.
house. who's a big deadhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might want to recheck that electrical work.
Yeah.
You can always smell them coming.
Yes, you can.
He couldn't finish because of a snake and a,
Yeah,
and
there
a
was a
rat
snake.
and a mouse.
That caught a mouse, wrapped around the
Inside of
the-
electrical
Yeah,
PP&L
I was
box outside.
What? Wait,
Like,
really?
yep.
Oh, this is real. Oh, okay.
Yep. So,
Damn.
I'm not flicking any light switches when we
So
go.
anyway,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
a fan of John Mayer taking.
Yeah, you're not a fan of
Nah,
that?
His
Jerry's-
guitar
Jerry's
playing
his
is
own.
unbelievable.
Yeah, oh,
His
God,
singing,
yeah.
I don't want to hear him singing any Jerry songs.
No, Jerry's his
But
own.
Definitely not.
when the Grateful Dead 50 came along, the Fare Thee Well tour,
Yeah.
I was pissed that Trey didn't get to sing more songs, and Bobby sang Jerry's parts. We're getting
Yeah,
we're
you're getting real in depth there. Now, I know with Touch of Grey at least that is Bob singing the majority of the song, and then
Yeah.
he didn't want to be the person in the music video, so that's when they had Jerry just like, we'll just have your skeleton be the one that's singing,
Yeah.
and we'll make it look like it's you, and then that's kind of, I mean, obviously 20 years into them or 15 years into them being in a band mid 80s, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what like rose him above everybody else. All of a sudden on this visual platform,
Yep.
we're seeing this guy, and then obviously you get things like Cherry Garcia,
Jerry's
that kind of
skeleton, yeah.
yeah, Jerry Skeleton. If they had only waited 10 years, they could have done it for real.
Jerry was also
man.
twice as large as any other man in that
Yes.
band, so
Oh my god! And I feel like he just always just wore like just any T-shirt
Sweatpants
and sweatpants. Exactly. He was just kind of like, I'm here.
I mean,
Yeah,
his
yeah.
best pop up though.
I've become that though.
His best pop
I only
up.
wear sweatpants.
Gray up a little bit.
Okay, just a touch, just a touch.
I mean, his best pop up was in Half Baked.
Jerry's Ashes.
Yeah,
Jerry's. Oh my god! I forgot about that.
and he pops up.
I need to
smacks the
rewatch
dude
that.
in
That
the
movie
head.
comes up all the time, and I never fucking remember anything about that. I just remember like you ever
It's
seen
so
$5
good, dude.
bill on weed? Like that's like the. I remember Jon Stewart in that movie, and that's pretty much it.
It's such a good movie.
And
Rewatch it.
what's up, Janine Garofalo?
Janine
Yeah,
Garofalo's
yeah.
I
in
remember
it.
her in that movie because I hate her.
And then is that the one that has? Is that the one that Stephen Wright's the dude on the couch or the dude in the
Yeah.
closet or
Yeah.
the
Guy on the couch.
guy on the couch, guy on the couch.
Oh.
Oh, what a perfect use of his talents.
Yes.
Just slow and stupid. Let's make
I think
him
he
the
has
guy on
2
the couch.
lines in the whole thing.
Oh my god. And he probably got billed right alongside half of.
He probably got paid more than anybody else in that
Yeah.
movie. Because everybody that was in that movie knew how good Stephen Wright was.
Stephen Wright is brilliant. Not to go off on a tangent with Stephen Wright, but Stephen Wright had this one bit that I always fucking loved. That was about I was hitchhiking and you gotta say it like Stephen Wright. I was hitchhiking and a tractor trailer pulled over and he had 18 cars that he was towing along with him, and he goes, "Hey, just pick a car and get in." And I got in. We picked up like 10 more people. We were speeding down the road, and then we got 17 speeding tickets. And it's literally like, the joke is probably 5 minutes longer than that, but it's just this slow, long delivery to nothing.
Yeah.
Like the precursor to Mitch Hedberg, like just
Yeah.
just slow, slow and dry. Oh my god.
That's heroin, bud.
That is heroin. That is what it will do to you. Bringing it back to Jerry Garcia. Okay. Diabetes. If you got it, don't do heroin. That's what we're saying there. All right. Well, hey, before we go off on too many crazy tangents, I just want to say thank you very much to the two of you for being
Thank you
here
for having us.
and letting us chit chat with you. We'll definitely, guys, we'll have you back on in the future. Is there anything upcoming? Any gigs or anything that you want to plug?
Cinder Thursday.
Cinder
open mic.
Thursdays. What other open mics do you have? Wednesday night?
No, it's second and fourth Tuesday of every month at the
Oh,
Sunset.
right. Yeah, because that's why you were available this week. Right.
And then we're at American Legion in Memory Town on the 28th.
And do you have any social media presence for the Feeling Good duo that you'd like to plug?
I love Facebook.
You do?
And I love to be stalked.
Love it.
So find us.
Find Alicia. I mean,
Feeling
the
good.
band.
Feeling good. You can find us that way. Or you can find Alicia. I'll still accept you, even if I don't know you. Just don't send me any penis.
But you know, you might need to make a secret.
No dick pics.
No dick pics, please.
No
Trust
dick
me,
pics.
before Facebook
I'll
started
send you
monitoring,
one back.
It was like an every other day thing.
Really?
Yes, I probably have more penises in my...
I'm sorry.
No. Hey.
Don't stop that sentence. Don't stop that sentence.
I always
censored me.
thought,
Boss.
what is wrong with people
Like, how do you?
That's how you say hello.
No, they say hi first.
Oh.
Or they give you the wave, like the wave button.
And then just a straight up picture of your penis.
Then I don't answer sometimes because you look like a weirdo. I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna answer you. Otherwise, I say hi. But if you look weird, I don't know. If you're not from Stroudsburg, Pocono. Yeah. And then next thing I know, I wake up in the morning.
Here's my wiener.
One guy, I had to restrict my page. Put his entire, he was in a thong, Speedo, on my wall.
Whoa.
So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta restrict what goes on my wall without accepting it because...
Jesus Christ.
I woke up in the morning. There's like 200 likes, and I'm like, I don't even know the guy.
International wieners.
I didn't ask for this one.
Oh, that's brave.
Jesus.
You know, I
don't get
I've
that.
I've never sent a picture of my wiener to
anyone.
To anyone.
Smart man.
Maybe once, but that was to someone I knew very well who wanted a picture of my wiener.
And you still wouldn't do it? And you still wouldn't do it?
Well, I did it, but I would never think to do that to someone I didn't intimately.
If you haven't seen my penis already, I don't want to send you a picture.
That's weird. That's crazy.
Strange. I don't get it. I've never understood the dick pic thing because it's like, I mean, maybe it's because I don't have a great dick for pics, but I mean,
look, I'm a lady. I'm telling you, we don't want to see it. It has a purpose.
Yeah.
And that moment is when I want to see it. Otherwise, don't send it.
Yeah. They're not pretty.
I don't care if it's 25 inches long. It's still not.
It's still not.
Wait. If it's 25 inches long,
send me that.
I gotta go to the gym.
I want to see that.
I gotta go to the gym.
I gotta go to the gym and stretch my dick out a little bit. Just tie weights to the end of my cock.
The local place will be out of pocket. So.
Yeah. Oh God, wonderful. Well, again, thank you guys so much. For joining us, and I'm so sorry about men. I'm just sorry about men in general. But every week we like to wrap up our show. We have a brother sister, as I call our brother sister love podcast. Let me ask you a question. It's meant to sound ancestral.
Yes, it does.
They are three of my great friends from high school. They are released every single Monday, along with our podcast for the Moot.tv Monday drops on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher for Podcasts. And every week, the host of this show, Anthony, asks a question that is ridiculous and all over the place. And at least for this season, I am going to be asking you the question from the most recent episode of Let Me Ask You a Question to tie it all in together. Now, this week, they didn't actually have an episode that they released, so I'm going back a couple of months. But let's just kick it all off. Our final little special ditty for everybody here. Our final segment, Let Me Ask You a Question from Let Me Ask You a Question. Hit it, Justin.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question from Let me ask you a question.
The form that you met them in probably isn't their natural form. Who knows what it is? It's probably some other, otherworldly being, or maybe it was a man or a woman, maybe it was a goat, maybe it was a dog first, and they figured out the magical powers. But would you knowingly have sex with a shapeshifter, knowing that they could change at any moment?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? No. As the only woman in the room, there's probably more specific reasons as to why you would not want that to happen. Would you like to go in depth on any detail as to why you would not want a shapeshifter? Because all of a sudden, that nice 6-incher turns into that 25-incher that you don't care about. And whoop, ripped in half. There you go.
Oh my God.
It
I
could
think
be
I was
bad.
more worried about it being like an animal.
Okay. All right.
Like I don't need a bull.
Like,
I mean,
it's-
even though you were a bull for
Yeah.
Halloween at Cinder,
It's like, because you could start off as John Stamos for you, like John Stamos 1998.
But knowingly that.
And then all of a sudden he could
full
just
house.
turn into a mule.
Or a frog.
Yeah, a frog.
Yeah,
And nobody wants a frog up in that. Nobody wants a frog up in that.
Yeah, no.
So you're. Oh,
People do.
he'd be in your kingdom. Oh, Lordy. Now, so a definite no. Just a definitive no from you.
Definitive no.
Now, Kroog, as a man, you know, you can convince them maybe if you got to be good
he's so
friends with
Convincing.
He's so
Convincing.
alien.
Who would need
shapeshifter.
convincing? I don't need convincing. I try everything twice.
Try everything twice,
I like
just
that.
to make sure
I like
you
that.
do or don't like it. Yeah.
I'm thinking good to know.
Just whatever you do, lubricate. Because then you won't try it twice if you don't. But yeah, so and would you knowingly have sex with a shapeshifter?
I just answered your question.
You
I
would.
try
You
everything
would twice. You would twice. All right, Justin. What about you? What are you thinking on this?
Yeah, probably.
You would do it? You would do it? Now, what if in the middle of the shape-shifting, they started changing into, like, weird demonic creatures or, like, weird things?
Definitely.
I'm coming
fucking-
so fast.
Well, Justin brought up the idea of when they orgasm, assuming the shapeshifter has, you know, the ability to orgasm and climax, maybe that's when they lose control. And you're like, if you're a dude and you're with a lady and you're like, okay, yeah, give me Scarlett Johansson 2008, and they shapeshift into Scarlett Johansson 2008, and you're going to town, everything's great, everything's wonderful, you're both about to come at the same exact time, and all of a sudden she/he/it just starts like shaking, and it goes quickly like Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr. or a brick house, Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr. or a
whatever
brick
your
house,
worst
and then all of a sudden
nightmares.
it ends and you just have a brick house on top of you.
You know what the worst part about the whole thing would be, though?
What?
Is if you end up, you're like, okay, but then get weirded out, how do you know that they actually left? They can turn into anything.
Yeah, they could turn into the lamp in the corner, right?
Yeah.
They
Well,
could
yeah,
do
no, we're talking
inanimate
like-
objects.
Like Odo from
no,
from
it's-
Deep Space Nine.
yeah,
You know, he turns into like the pile, like the liquid shit.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
That would be awesome.
Alex Mack status.
Because you could just bang a pile of
into another
liquid that
one.
had sex organs.
Yep.
Well, now we know what your
It's like a
fantasy
hump
is.
of mercury.
Zach wants to fuck
pile
a
of
puddle
liquid
with a pussy.
with-
That's what he wants. A puddle of pussy. A whole
Yeah.
pile of a puddle.
Like
of
I said,
pussy.
I'll try anything twice.
Anything
Oh
twice.
my goodness.
Puddle of pussies. Here we
Only
go.
2 though.
Anybody want to start a Puddle of Bud cover band called Puddle of Pussies? We'll just do it real soft. We'll just do it real soft. The way a Puddle of Pussies likes it, soft.
But you gotta
Zach-
dress up in corpse paint.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Zach-
how you feel after. When the shapeshifter's done, okay, they've changed their final formation.
Yeah.
How are you going to feel after again? Dude?
That's what you gotta think about. You gotta think about that. Zach, are you down with the
I'm so
shapeshifter?
in, yeah.
You're so in.
I'm
Because
powerful.
Zach has already stated in this season that he's never had a sexual experience that has left him feeling good afterwards. So maybe the shapeshifter is where to go with it. Maybe it is.
That's terrible.
Weird boners in this context.
it is
That's
terrible.
what
It's
I'm
sad. It's sad to introduce him to some
Yes.
ladies. I feel like I would want to build up a good, like anytime I've had sex with somebody, I want to build up a long, awkward relationship with them beforehand. I want them to like me as a human being, and then I want to exploit what they're good for. So I would be like, all right, so if you could give me Lindsay Lohan 2005 right now, that would be amazing. And then they can just change like that.
Wait
right?
a minute. Was Lindsay Lohan 18 in 2005?
I don't care. I was 19, so it would have been fine. So for me, whatever. And then it got into that thought of like, hey, we can start curbing some really shitty behavior, people, and just start being like, hey, are you a pervert that has a really weird fetish? We've got these, I guess, enslaved now, but we've got these
Enslaved shapeshifters sex
over
workers.
here. These shape-shifting sex workers. Say that 40 times fast.
I think it'd still be
Ooh.
wrong if you were having sex with a shapeshifter and you wanted them to take the form of a young
yes.
person. I think that would still.
It would be wrong.
Even though
Would
technically
you-
they're not.
They're not.
They're not the Olsen twins. when they were on Full House.
Yes.
If it looked like it and it felt like it, it's wrong.
Well, according to the
It's fucking wrong.
Christian beliefs and laws, if you thought it, you've done it. So if you've done it, you've definitely
No
done
wonder
it.
I catch on fire.
I mean, the other thing that we were talking about is, do they have the same voice, or is it just like a
does it
deep
change?
voice
If you
or
go,
whatever?
Marilyn
That
Monroe,
would be awesome.
Is it still like Joe? He's like, yo, I'm Marilyn Monroe now.
Also, would you go for dead people?
Would you go for like currently dead people, or would you go for
like
old
long distance,
dead people?
Like a corpse?
Like
You
a
trying to
60-day
fuck a
window?
corpse?
No.
I'd
I
like
don't
to
mean
have
like a
Henry
corpse.
VIII
I mean
now.
like somebody that has been deceased.
Yeah.
But you have the
Like, would I
imagery
fuck
of it.
Albert Einstein? Maybe. I mean, but that's just for
Would
the
I?
knowledge.
Would
He'd be fucking you.
could I double team someone with
yeah.
Humphrey Bogart?
It's all
That would be
relative.
awesome.
I've heard rumors.
Humphrey Bogart, yeah, man. Yeah, that'd be
What
pretty
about
good.
doing things wrong? Like, can you be Leonardo DiCaprio with a vagina?
Yeah! You can shapeshift. You can switch the shapes.
So you're like,
Shape
can
and
you give me
shifts.
Leonardo? Oh, no, with a vagina.
Yeah, with a vagina. Oh my God. We just opened up a whole new portal of wonderful, wonderful pornography that's going to exist soon in the future.
I don't want it.
You don't
I don't want it.
Call that
Sure, it's
daddy
already
in the
out
middle of
there.
that. All right,
Yeah,
well,
it probably is.
I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in live tonight. Thank you everybody for listening in the future on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher for Podcasts. I want to give a big thank you again to Sweetnest. Check them out on Instagram at Sweetnest PA. We will again be having the single, one of the singles from A Fire with Friends off of the split EP with Sweetnest called Bearings. That'll be next week, so make sure you join us next week.
Is it bearings like
B-E-A,
I've lost my bearings,
yes,
or
like I've lost my bearings?
you know that old Ford needs some new wheel bearings?
I think it's I've lost my bearings.
Either way, I think it's bearings.
It's bearings.
Smell the same? I'm not a
It's
speller.
not the bearings straight. I know that much. But we'll be playing them, and next week we will also be joined by Amy McMahon, who is a local. I'll just say it now. I'm going to coin it for her. She's a local yoga guru.
Oh God! I thought you were saying
joining us.
shapeshifter.
And a shapeshifter. So
and
get
whatever
ready.
shapeshifter may be in whatever,
she
shape they
shows
might
up.
be in.
I'm just going to get a random person to do the interview.
Well,
and
are we
just
doing
say it.
yoga on the show?
With a lampshade
She
on,
might show us
standing
some
in the
things,
corner
but
of the room.
I'm
Where the
not
fuck
planning
are we
to do
doing yoga
I'm
in this
gonna
video?
I don't
We
think
gotta
we're
eat
doing
yogurt and do yoga.
yogurt with yoga. Yoga with
Lori's
yogurt.
fun, though. Lori's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I will lube up with Greek yogurt.
Would it be the first time? Would
Oh
not be
Oh,
the
Lori,
first time.
you're in for it.
But yeah, so that's next week. You can join us for that. Again, a big shout out to the Feeling Good duo. Alicia and Kroog. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining
Thanks
us.
for
Thanks for
being
bringing
here,
that
guys, seriously.
screwball.
Yeah, hell
Screwball.
yeah.
If you like peanut butter, you like whiskey, just drink screwball. You really don't need anything else in your life. It's a sad, wonderful, sad truth. And then, as always, check out from Moot.tv, White Wasabi, and Let Me Ask You a Question. A big shout out to our super producer, EJ5000, for getting us out every single Monday, along with Let Me Ask You a Question. Eric and Gregaman on there. Big thank you to Mr. Justin Olimpado for putting everything together.
Anytime.
And as always, Mr. Zachary, Shapeshifter Man, Stormin.
That was a dating requirement. No, that was an ad.
All right. Well, again, we'll be back next week, 9 o'clock on Tuesday here on the Houseboat. Tommy Lee Jones for another episode of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up. Again, we'll be having music from A Fire with Friends, and in studio, Amy Lee McMahon will be here, and maybe she'll make us stretch ourselves, at least mentally.
She'll stretch you.
She'll stretch us. All right, guys. Thank you again for choosing to listen to us. We know you have many options of things to do, and you don't have to do this.
You can also now watch the short clips.
And we're going to
on
be releasing
YouTube.
short clips. Yeah, we're going to be releasing short clips throughout the week. Every couple of days, we're going to be putting out different little clips, our single, the guest segment, all of that. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week. As always, here is our closing theme song to play us out.
Fuck you.
Go fuck yourselves.
Wow.
You shapeshifter.
Fuck. Fuck anything. You could fuck yourself if you're a
Anatomically
shapeshifter.
perfect.
Yeah, you could.
Bye, guys.
There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Grammer. If I could only drink like him, we're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be solid, some will be weak. We're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be solid, some will be total experimental pieces of shit. We are